Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 14 of the single player Let's Play series here in Harmonious Engineering 3 Let's Play world. You can see that I'm already on a roll. I'm moving. I know exactly what I'm going to do today, and I think it might be something that might surprise you. We'll see. As I continue to harvest up more glow goop, we'll actually start to need this episode. So what I'm working towards right this moment... Ooh, you know what? Do we still have any of those extra speed upgrades anywhere? I don't remember where we got those. We'll do that for now. I don't really care. So what I'm going to be working on today is getting ourselves some more compressed iron so that we can get more. Thought I saw you over here. So that we can work our way towards more of the mechanical saws from Create, because we're going to be working on an automatic tree farm today. Essentially, my plan is to get ourselves an automatic tree farm, and by the end of this episode, turn that tree farm into an automatic charcoal source as well. And then we'll use that charcoal to run this boiler, and this boiler can run our compressors faster if we can get this going faster in the first place. So if you'll remember the saw recipe, the saw blade recipe here was 4 and 4, so that's why we've got 20 here and 20 iron plates being created over here at our factory. And I think we should be good to go once we get all of these made. So my plan at the moment, there's one of two possibilities here that I'm thinking on. Option number one is to just make these the standard saw blades, and then go through and use a coke oven to turn all of our wood into charcoal. Option number two is to use something like a sawmill or something. So I'm not sure about the sawmill option because we will have to use more of these saw blades, and that's not really a big deal in and of itself. But the saw blades do break over time, and that does kind of gum up systems pretty quickly if you're not careful. So with that done, we're also going to get ourselves some deployers. If you don't know what a deployer is, this is basically like an activator block. This is something that pretends to right-click for us. So to do that, we're going to need andesite casings again. Let's go ahead and get these 5. We're going to need brass hands. We're going to need 5 of these. So that's going to be, looks like another 20. Come on, focus, please. There we go. Another 20 of these turned into plates. And then there's another component here, which is going to be sort of a fun part that we've already kind of discussed, and that is the PCB itself. So let's go ahead and toss those there. I'm going to go ahead and turn this glow goop into slime ball, because we're going to need super glue at some point today. And what we can do is, as we, let's get our PCB. We have 3 that are not quite done. Let's see. Aha, this is where these got to. So we can speed some of our processes up as well, so we might have to do that. If I wanted you, we would need gold. And then we're going to need 6 sticks. And we're going to need our plastic. And that was 3 plastic, right? Yep. So using that, we can go ahead and start to work towards our we can start working towards our finished PCBs again. Now, one of the processes that we've had kind of as a bottleneck as of late has been our little UV light box here, but we can speed upgrade it. So why don't we do that, and that will help us out a little bit here as well. Let's go and put those directly in the hopper. And you can see the speed upgrades are definitely making a difference. In fact, I think we can actually afford a couple more. Hello, rude. Oh, well, at least you dropped your boots. And our finished PCBs are on this end. Beautiful. Or I guess they're unfinished PCBs, but still. So you can see we're already increasing very quickly up to that 100% mark. So that's going to really make a difference as we go. So currently we're going to need 5 of the deployers as well. So we're going to need 5 empty PCBs. So I'm going to wait for these PCBs to finish etching, and then I will be back. All right, so we have our 4 unassembled PCBs. Like I said, we're going to need 5 because we're going to do 5 deployers. So what we can have set up here is our hopefully 5 finished PCBs. I don't know if we have 10 transistors. We're going to figure that out, I suppose. We have 7. Okay, so that's going to be a bit of a problem. Let's go ahead and get more of these guys. These are not too terrible, so let me get that taken care of as well, I guess. All right, I made 9 extra transistors here because I don't want to make these again if I can so much as avoid it. So that will give us our 5 finished PCBs. So now we need to combine those PCBs somewhere here. Here we go, with 5 redstone torches. So we'll go ahead and grab that really quickly. And we should have 5 rose quartz that we got from a quest reward previously. These rose quartz need to be polished still, so what we're going to need to do is get some sandpaper. So that's going to be a piece of sand and a piece of paper. And what we do is we take our rose quartz in one hand and our sandpaper in the other, and we just hold on right click. I'm actually going to go and do all of my rose quartz now that I think about it, because the sandpaper has 8 durability, and we got 8 rose quartz, so it just kind of makes sense. And so now we can create ourselves some electron tubes. I don't know that we're actually... I forgot that this makes 2 at a time, so I am going to have 5 extra. We are going to need those, though, so I'm not all that concerned about the excess. And so at this point, all we need to do to make our deployer is to take 5 andesite alloy, and that will get us brass hands. And the brass hands with the electron tube and the andesite casing gets us deployers. Deployers are incredible because what you can do is, if we grabbed, like, let's say, actually this would be a very practical application. Do we still have our hand crank around? We do not. Let's go ahead and get another one replaced. If we take the deployer, and I think I've discussed this before, but there is the potential that we would want to be able to automate our campfire staying lit over here, because as I mentioned before, if you right click on a campfire with the torch, it will relight the campfire. So what you could do instead is, if you wanted to, you could set up a deployer. You got to give it some space, right? You can give it your torch by right clicking, and then if I just give it the hand crank, there you go. You can see that it does the right-click motion for me on my behalf. So what we could do is something like that. However, how we're going to use our deployers is we're going to use them as dedicated sapling replanters. So we're going to have our mechanical saws cutting down trees. We're going to have our deployers here replanting our trees behind our track that we leave of dead trees. And what we're going to do along the way is clean everything up using the deployers and a couple other things. So we're going to need a... what am I thinking of? There are a few things. The mechanical bearing is the first thing that we're going to need. So the mechanical bearing, like so, will allow us to rotate. I don't know if we have any extra water wheels. We do not. So let's grab these 3, and let's grab some spruce. And we'll do that. And so let's go ahead and grab a few of the water wheels here. 8 should do. And then let's actually go and grab the remainder of these. Ah, apparently I had a bunch of my spruce slabs in there. That makes sense. We're also going to need some cogwheels. And let's go ahead and grab 2 more of these sizes as well. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and get ourselves the same setup that we've been doing with our water wheels set up. This time, I'm going to do a couple of things differently. First of all, from Builder's Delight, I'd like to make a chisel. Let's do this really quickly, just to save ourselves time. And the chisel allows us to basically re-chisel items. I don't know why the JEI compatibility isn't working anymore. Okay, it's working here. So you can see all the things that we can chisel together and such. I'm here for the industrial blocks. So let's go ahead and get some of these. Surely we have a better stone or deep slate. Yeah, let's definitely do deep slate. And we're going to get some of these warning blocks. I really like how these look. And there are, again, more variants, more colors, more everything. So that's why I grabbed my chisel, just in case. But I'm going to start to set out an area over here. Oh, we are also going to need some iron. I have no idea if the glue recipe has changed. We're going to need super glue. Ah, it has changed. Iron nugget instead. We're going to need slime balls. Oh, I actually wanted one of those. I think I'm accidentally clicking a lot extra lately. So we'll go ahead and get that. Compressed, let me think, what else do I need? I need a barrel. We'll grab 2 for now. And we're going to need a portable... Oh, okay. I see what happened there. Portable item interface. This guy right here, the storage interface. So we're going to need some chutes. So let's go ahead and grab more iron. And we'll go and get that processed up. All right, so I think I've got everything prepared. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a tree farm right over here. Right over there where that creeper's at even would be just fine. So what we can do... Where is... Oh, hello. Let me go and grab some water anyway. We're going to need it. But what we can do is go ahead and start to get this guy set up. It's not going to be very, very big, so I think this space will be more or less fine. Let's see. So if we had it maybe like here would be good enough. Ooh, that is slightly problematic of a spot. Let me see. Okay, so I found a spot that is pretty good here. Let's go ahead and dig our 8 blocks. And then, as you can see, my inventory is quite a mess right now. So let's go ahead and clean up a couple of things here. Let's get 8 stone bricks. Just because I can. Not really much other reason to do it that way. I just like it. And we'll go ahead and get ourselves a infinite water spring. And we'll refill. Whoops. And we'll place down our water wheels as well. And I think we'll go ahead and encase this as well, at least to the maximum that we can. So if we did something like this, and if we need to get out, we can just do this. I think that'll be okay. If we did something like this, we should be able to produce a decent amount of torque. And believe it or not, what we're going to be building out here does not use too terribly much. It does use quite a bit, but I think... Oh, well, that doesn't really save me any time like I was hoping it would. I think in general, the efficiency of the system is actually quite outstanding. But you will see soon enough. Let's go ahead and grab this one last water bucket. And so we can now begin to do... Oh, you know what? I forgot to bring gearboxes. See, this is why I always come around with extra materials in my inventory. Like, when I do create stuff, I always forget something. I forgot a gearbox. I think I'm just going to need the one. But I forgot it nonetheless. It looks like I don't have a crafting table on me anymore, so we'll make another one of those as well. So if we take our rotational energy here and obviously rotate it the correct direction, let's see, single block mode, and then we'll put you there. What we can do is a very simple setup of what we've been doing before, because this doesn't have to go very fast either. That's the other fun part about this, is unlike all of our other setups where speed has been king, here, speed does not matter in the slightest bit. It's kind of the least important thing to us. What we really want is just a reliable speed, and if it's too fast, we may run into problems. So ideally what we want is a speed that just doesn't change. And this speed doesn't change, but there's like no chance of it going down, no chance of it shutting off, no chance of it getting jammed. It's just always going to run. And that's exactly what we are looking for. So let me actually start to fill this in with the right materials. And once we get this put down, what we can do is start to work on the logistics side of this, which is where it gets really fun and really interesting. So we are, I think I'm going to put this right here. We're going to start off with a mechanical bearing. I mentioned this before. If I right click on it, you'll see that it doesn't do anything. If I put something on top of it and right click, you'll see it'll start to spin. In fact, I think, you know, we may be going too fast. We'll have to figure that part out. I think we might be going too fast. Just seeing what I saw just then. But that's okay. Now, we're going to use radial chassis here, because if you use a radial chassis, and you're going to want to have your wrench out, you can see here that there's this number on the side. Let's say that I hooked up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hopefully that number strikes a tone with you, and you remember a certain thing that we have 5 of. That's 5 of these. Actually, you know, let's make this the really compact version. We don't have to use radial chassis, and so what I'm going to do is the really compact version where we just apply these directly and then glue everything together. So when we do it this way, we're going to have to get out the super glue here and super glue everything together. But if we take a look at our range, our radius, we can see... is there a way to... I think this is actually what we needed to do. And then we can glue that side. There we go. Now, if I right-click, we should see... Ooh, goodness. Yep, the whole thing is running, and I have created the world's most deadly game of... Ooh, goodness me. This is the world's most deadly game of Wipeout, I think, that exists. So we'll have to do this. If I came over here and right-clicked it again, it'll stop. Dangerous. Fun. So what we can do from here, now that our lives are no longer in danger, is we can put down these linear chassis. And what we can do is if we look at our radius, if we glue this side and then look at our radius, we should see that they are connected. You can see that this is connected, and if I shrink this number down, it'll stop connecting after a certain point. So I'm going to have it connect to 5 here, and to 5 here, and to 5 here. So now, if I turn on our destruction machine, we should see the whole thing now goes around in circles and tries to kill us even faster and even more dangerously. I just came through and slowed this down because, oh boy, was that getting a little bit too fast. And I will... Hello. I'm being carried. It did change direction, but that's okay. I think that's definitely closer to the right speed. That might even be too fast still. We'll see. So I'm going to go and shut that off again. And if it's rotating the wrong direction, just come over here and put yourself down a gearbox like I'm going to. Because we want this to rotate the other way, and I am not about to go through and reconfigure all of my water wheels or reconfigure everything on the opposite side. There are lots of different places that we can change the rotational direction here, but I would just rather do this. So we do that. We do... There goes my crafting bench. Oh, that's not what I wanted either. It's all right. We do that, and now you should be facing or rotating in the right direction, and that is correct. Now, the rotation of these linear chassis, you see they also have numbers on them. There's a reason for that as well. If I were to put glue on this side, right, and I put our deployers down, like so, and then I hovered over this with my wrench, you'll see that it also has an extended range out. So we're going to drop that range extension from 8 to 1, because there's no sense in having it cover more than it needs to. Little buddy, you're in danger. This is not a good place to be. And after I sleep the rain and the night away, we'll be able to see sort of how this entire convolution, or convoluted contraption works. Now, there is one piece here that we're going to need. We're going to need a portable storage interface. And so to do that, I'm going to go ahead and configure more linear chassis right along here. Don't forget to glue them down. Right, so we should have everything connecting up here. And on the end here, we're going to put down a portable storage interface. And right here, I'm going to put down a barrel. Now, I guess we really don't have to do that. We could just do, like, nothing, I guess, technically would work. I think it would look cooler if there were something there, so we might just do, like, 3 stripped logs. Like that, I think could be okay. I don't know. I feel like that might also just be lame. So I'll probably just leave that empty. But what we can do from here is start to glue stuff together. So we had those super glued together there, right? So now we can super glue these all together, and they should all move together. We should see everything moving together now. So if I do this, you'll see that everything is moving as a singular unit, and that is perfect, because now we can tell this singular unit to do stuff for us even. Hopefully you're starting to also understand why it is that I have prepared myself with a bunch of those warning blocks, because this does get dangerous, and I wanted to indicate that in kind of a cool and clever way. So if we were to tell these guys to only hold, to only hold birch saplings, then if I gave these guys, let's go ahead and clear out more stuff, birch saplings, if they ever happen across any more birch saplings at any point along their journey, and that includes cutting a tree down, they will, in fact, pick them up and try to plant them. So as soon as I right-click this thing, you're going to hear that spam. And that spam is actually a great sign. That means that it's working. So we have placed down saplings. Now, if they grow, they're going to get cut down. And anytime we pick up more saplings, we're going to start to plant more and more and more. See, we planted more there. And there. So all we have to do is just help our little friend here fill up on more saplings. And as it does, we will be able to start to fill out this entire farm. Now, you might be wondering, how the heck do I get my stuff out of here? Because right now, there's nothing in there that I can... or I have no way of getting anything back out of the system. But that's what that portable storage interface was for. So the portable storage interface will allow us to interact with the inventory that is on board of this rotating knee swiper that I've created, that essentially is just here to take your legs. And as you can see, our little farm here is already starting to fill in. Now, the reason I went with birch is because birch only drops 3 things, and that's saplings and sticks. And for me, that's ideal because we're not going to be using this for building blocks. We're just going to be using this for resources like chests and drawers and charcoal. So I'm going to let this farm fill in a little bit, but before it does, I want to show you where our stuff is going. So let's go ahead and get that configured. I'm also going to see if I can find a way to shut down this machine. Oh. There we go. So what we're going to do... Woof, that really took me down quite a bit. I'm still wondering if that's not too fast. I'm just going to go for a slower speed. I really think that this is just absolutely absurd how fast that's going. So let's just slow this down entirely. So let's just go for the standard speed, and I'll fill all of that in. There we go. That's a normal speed. That's like the speed that I would expect to see it at. That's reasonable. Okay, good. So what we can do now is, if we take a look, I'm going to wait really quickly for this guy to reach all the way to this end. And what I want is to have, I believe it is a 1 block space. I could be wrong here, but I think it is 1 block that we need space for, to put our other storage interface down onto. So now these two are going to be, I think it's, oh man, I'm really starting to think it's 2 blocks. Let's do 2. Yeah, no, it is 2. So with this space between them, they will connect out to each other and try to interface. So if I put a barrel down here, and by the way, we can go to this barrel and grab this stuff directly, but that means we have to stop it every time. If we just wanted to automatically dump, this should do. And there we go. Rapid Hopper is fast. This guy is super fast, so we don't have to like worry about getting stuff out of it. And if I come over here and look at the construction at the top, you'll see it tells me what's inside of it and what I'm looking at. So there's that as well to just kind of consider. And so one last thing, if I came over here and stopped you and put all of these saplings back in, like I said before, it's going to try to replant them. Ow. So yeah, I'm just going to let this farm kind of fill in, and then we will work on getting stuff from our farm set up somewhere else for us to actually do stuff with it, because I still have to handle our items and then sort them a little bit, and from there we will still have to figure out how the heck we're going to turn this into charcoal, because there's actually no create-based recipes for charcoal, surprisingly. Maybe surprisingly. I think it makes sense knowing how Simi likes things to be designed, but it's still kind of a bit of a surprise to me that there isn't a charcoal recipe. This tree here is being a little weird. I think it might not work. Alright, so for the setup that I have planned, we're going to need to make mechanical crafters as well, because what we're going to do is we're going to use our birch logs that we're getting and just crafting them into birch planks, because birch planks are more fuel efficient than birch logs. So we're going to need a mechanical crafter in order to automatically do that. Actually, well, we don't have to use a mechanical crafter. We could use a saw. Why don't we do that? I think a saw would be a little more efficient. We would probably need 2 of these. So let's get that done again, because you guys already know the recipe for that. So, to get ourselves these planks, we're going to utilize a process from Create that I don't think we've really done before, which I think is going to be cool. And we're going to implement conveyor belts quite thoroughly. You can see I've already perimetered our little farm here, and everything should be good and safe. Oh, and we are doing very well on resources. So this is where our problems sort of begin, right? So we have to figure out how to get stuff out of here. Unfortunately, I think I'm just going to have to suck it up and break this. Let me move all of its content at least. You're okay. You're doing okay. With everything in here, that should at least make it a little more simple to move. And we're going to start by laying out some conveyor belts. So I want to say that I can hopper directly into the side of a conveyor belt. I don't think that has changed. And what we're going to do is, using the mechanical belts here, we're going to start to lay out our process. So the process, yep, you can see that that's already working. The process is going to be pretty straightforward. I'm going to probably keep this pretty simple for a little water wheel setup. Just do like a pretty small one down here. And if we take some of these, we'll push that back another block just in case. We can go ahead and start this off again. You guys have seen this a million times. If you ever play the Create Above and Beyond mod pack, this setup you'll be tired of by the time you're done with that pack. You'll make a bunch of these because Create Above and Beyond does a really good job of making you want to make these, you know. And that's not a bad thing. These are fun to have. Let's go ahead and get ourselves another outlet made there, and then we can go ahead and start to put down our shafts there. And what we can do is turn all of our water wheels on. And now we can block that in and fill in, whoops, let's see, fill in that. And whatever, sure, that's fine too. So with our rotational force here, I may actually clock this up one. Just for the sake of it. And from my experience, give yourself more space than you think you'll need. Otherwise, this becomes really difficult to maintain and to keep on using. So for me, if you're doing what I'm doing here, you see that there's going to be a mismatch, right? Like there's no way this is going to connect here. Well, if I right click with the conveyor belt, notice I have 3 belts. If I right click with another one, it'll just expand it out. So that is going to be very helpful. So what we can do is rotate this again. It is rotating the wrong way, so we're going to need to rotate it again. Easy enough to fix, though. And, here's a good point. If anything ever gets stuck on a belt, just right-click it to take it off. And we will go ahead and do this. And now this is going to be spinning the right way. You're going to see that this is going to pull out, looks like one at a time. I don't love that, but I think that's kind of our only option. There is one other thing we could do, though. Let's break this and put a chute on this, or a funnel on this instead. And the funnel will extract a whole stack at a time. It's a little faster. This is the way that Create kind of intends you to do it. I am, for now, going to disconnect this. That way we don't run into more and more issues of overflowing. And because we're going to just be constantly producing resources, I think I'm just going to trash that. So this is how I had hoped to set something like this up. I'm actually going to need another funnel, unless I wanted to make a... I could just make a normal funnel, I suppose. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I gave in and made another pair of brass funnels. I think the brass funnels will make it just overall way quicker to set up. So the plan here, at least the one that I have in my head, is that we're essentially going to fork off of our existing lines here, and I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. So we have our main line here. This line is going to contain everything for... oh, you know what? Let me go get a normal funnel. I forgot there was one thing we wanted that for. So as I was saying, we have this main line of stuff here that's going to be coming off of our conveyor belt, and that is fine and dandy. We're going to use this quite a bit, right? And actually, while I'm thinking about it, let me grab a couple of these. We're going to need at least 2 more, possibly more. Actually, hang on, let me grab a few of these. So we're going to be needing quite a few gearboxes for this setup. But what I'm thinking is we'll have a simple setup where at the very end here, we're going to put a trash can. So this is going to be for all of our excess, and we'll put a funnel on that so that anything that comes out of here, if I were to hook this back up, anything that comes out of here is going to go straight into the trash can. See? And so that's just going to be trashing everything that we produce. And that's fine. That's not my favorite, but that's good because if we make excess, it'll go away. But if we don't make excess, I want to figure out what that's going to do as well. So what we'll do is we'll have a setup like this. And truthfully, the setup will actually look a little more like this. And we will have... Where did they go? Here we go. We'll put a drawer down here and a drawer down here. I don't really think that there is any situation in which I would ever need saplings. I will, however, sometimes need logs just for crafting other things. So you see, if I look at the brass funnel, first of all, it's facing the wrong way. You can see the top of it here, the arrow. That arrow is facing away. If we right-click it, we can rotate it to face it towards. That means that this is going to filter items that come in. Right now, the filter is set to anything, but if I wanted to set it to be logs, then I would just right-click it with logs. And if I wanted to set it to be sticks, I set it with sticks. If I wanted to say I only want 8 sticks at a time, I can do that, but I don't personally care how many sticks go through the system. Sticks are sticks, so that's fine with me. If I turn this back on, you'll see everything is going into its rightful place. And that's perfect. Now, if this system ever overfills or something goes in here that's junk, we will basically automatically handle that. So if I put in this here, you'll see it's not going to go into any of those, and it's just going to go straight into the trash. If we get saplings, they're going to go straight into the trash. So now we have to feed off of this guy, because if you look here, you can see inside of this chute that I put underneath, there are 16 birch logs. And you know, I used a chute here. I think it would actually work better if I used a different mechanic here. Let's go ahead and get more shafts, and we're going to put a offshoot over here with another belt. And this belt will have things coming out of this guy. So let's just right-click it. You'll see that it's going to, it will, as soon as this starts to rotate, it will try to spit out items. And so now there's this problem. I have rotation that I need to go over here. How do I get this? Am I going to have to make another water wheel? The answer is no. If I right-click at any point on a belt with a shaft, you can add more shafts. If I right-click again, I can remove them. So I could put a shaft right here, and now I've got rotation going right there. I could do this, for example, and that, as you can see, is actually spinning the wrong way. And so now we're just throwing out all of our logs, and that's not what we want. So what we could do instead is have this either out. There are two different ways that we could do this. The way that I think I might actually do this is to have it here, and then put 2 gearboxes, one here and one here. And now that's going to flow the correct direction. This is sort of a janky setup. This is not my favorite way of doing things, but it's just sort of the way that we have to do them because of the mechanisms that we're involving here. So now, if I put down a mechanical saw, ideally have it facing the right way. And then if we look through the mechanical saw recipes, the first go through a mechanical saw is going to strip it, and then the second go is going to turn it into 6 planks. And that's the most efficient that we could really do. Not really much more we can ask for anyway. So if we do that, if we put one of these down right here, and then we put a functional storage drawer there, and it will, I'll leave the planks out of there, but that'll be loaded up with planks. We put another line of conveyor belts here. In fact, we could shorten this if we wanted to, just by right-clicking there. And you know, we might actually do the same thing here, because I don't really see why this has to be so far away. We can make these just really short little lines, and that's completely fine. We'll do that there. This guy here, with our setup like so. And so now I'm going to tell you, you can filter these recipes. So I'm going to filter you to only make planks out of that one, and I'm going to filter the other one just in case to only make stripped logs out of this one. Now, everything still needs to be hooked up to rotational force still, so we need to do that as well. We may need a couple more shafts to do that with. And if I remember correctly, yeah, these guys want weird rotation. And that I've always been relatively frustrated with. You see, if I rotate it this way, it's going to rotate the wrong way. I always found that frustrating. So what we might have to do, I wonder if that happens to be the right direction. Doesn't look like it. Okay. We could also do, I'm trying to remember how I usually do this. Let's go ahead and get a couple of chain drives for sure. All right, got myself a whole bunch more andesite alloy and 3 or 6 more encased chain drives. So what I'm wondering is if I do this, that's not going to be the right direction. But if I did this, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that that would not be the right direction. Woof. Okay. Maybe. Oops, that is not correct at all. Maybe we do something like this. That's the wrong direction again. Okay. Yeah, hopefully now you can kind of see my frustration with the fact that these saws go the wrong way, I think. And they seem to only ever animate when I'm looking at them. From the one side. Interesting. All right, it's a little convoluted, but it works. So I guess there's that, which is nice. What we're doing is we're using the encased chain drive's ability to kind of be twisted a little bit, and we're running a line down here from the bottom of this gearbox, which is rotating not only this segment of belt, but also this segment of belt down here. It's coming up into another gearbox, rotating this component, and then also is coming up and underneath our conveyor belt, coming around over here to this chain drive that's coming up from the ground to rotate this last little segment here. I know it's a little bit ridiculous, but hey, it works. And if this system ever runs out, you can see that it's patient. It doesn't just dump a bunch of items into the world. It will actually, you know, process things with some level of courtesy. So if we end up with an excess or a backlog in any of these chests, or sorry, framed or oak drawers, then that's just fine. We're not going to have any major issues. It's not going to completely back stuff, or well, it will back stuff, but it'll back stuff correctly rather than making a huge mess. So yeah, overall, I think this setup is a little bit weird, a little bit out of the ordinary, but it does definitely seem to work well enough. And yeah, frankly, I think that with some cleanup, with some pipes in the future, this setup will look a lot better. Right now, though, this is the stuff that I feel like trying to use. I could break out pipes if I really wanted to, but either the pipes mod or pretty pipes, either way. But I wanted to utilize Create and a lot of its factory components here. The mechanical saws here are definitely kind of difficult to work around. If I were to use pipes, it would just be a little bit more annoying. So that's kind of part of my thinking, my reasoning here for going this route. Because as you can see, again, I'm half convinced this is a bug. These seem to be rotating the wrong way. Like they have to be rotating the wrong way in order to work. And that's been a thing for a while. So I'm curious to see what the reasoning is, because I cannot think of any unless. No, I don't know. So yeah, anyways, I think we're definitely at a wrapping up point for now. We are already making quite a few planks over here, and in the next episode, we will set up a couple of different things that we're going to need in order to actually use these planks to fuel our little steam boiler. Because the plan is to use these planks to get a steam boiler running, and to do that, we're going to need some blaze burners, and we're going to need to get ourselves a a different component here, and that is the mechanical arm. This is going to be a pretty special recipe to do because of the precision mechanism. At least there is no chance for failure on the precision mechanism, so there is that. But it's still going to be kind of a pain to do. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.